this is Old Cam.
And this is not a spring chicken. I know a lot of you are concerned about Halloween, but there's something that comes up right around the corner, which is voting.
Yeah, which is funny. It follows all
Trick or treat.
Trick or treat, yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to get
and
a lot.
It does every year.
You're going to get, actually, there's not going to be any treats. It's all going to be tricks this year.
Oh, well, part of it is we're set for a midterm election, and usually for midterm elections, well, let's just say people typically do not come out for midterm elections.
Well, I know. Generally, historically, the party that's in control loses 10 to 20 seats
Oh, really?
in an off-year election. This year, they're expecting to lose 60 to 80 in the House and 9 to 11 in the Senate.
Oh, I guess this is kind of like our public service announcement.
Yeah. Because one thing, we aren't going to be here on the 2nd of November. We're going to be in Las Vegas because traditionally SEMA actually is basically on election day in Las Vegas. So we basically, you have to, like, our election thing is you got to cast your vote early.
Actually, I have my mail-in ballot, and I'm going to mail it in by this Friday.
Yeah.
Yes.
The trick, though, is with mail-in ballots, and is that as I found out the other day, if the election is not close, they don't count the mail. They don't count them, which is amazing. Which is a violation of the law. You have to count every vote.
I thought do they ever count and even beforehand, or it's just after if it's close?
Well, they're supposed to count them all, but because of the expense, they stopped counting them. It's just like, here's a big thing too. All of these states that are concerned about the voting rights of minorities, they're 29 democratically controlled states did not send the ballots out for the American soldiers.
What?
That's right. Means the ballots are not going to count. If they fill them out, they will not count. And they said, that has nothing to do that traditionally those people that are outside of the country vote Republican. It has nothing to do with that, folks.
See, that's just totally wrong.
Yeah, basically what's going to happen is if the races are tight, the Republicans are going to sue the hell out of all of these states. Well, the Obama administration, Justice Department, cracked down on them 2 weeks late. They have to have the ballots must be out 45 days before the election to make certain that they can be in time to be counted. They deliberately didn't send them out. It was an accident. Well, 29, here's the
29 states.
We have 50 states in the nation. 21 states are controlled by Republican governors and legislatures. Their ballots went out. 29 states controlled by Democrats and Democratic legislatures. Guess which set? The Democrats didn't send them out.
Yeah, now I'm just curious what the election results are in those 29 states where the military don't get to vote.
They're going, basically, I understand they are so pissed off that basically if Obama doesn't let those votes be counted, they're going to write, Holder's going to be, they told Holder this was being done 2 weeks before they got involved in it. 2 weeks. He waited until after it was too late to mail them.
Oh.
Then to get the court to order them to mail those ballots.
And then it was too late to do it.
Oh, I mean, basically, it's a campaign issue now in the states that they deliberately held these things back until they couldn't count. But it's going to work because they're going to take it to the Supreme Court, and I'll bet you your dollar that the Supreme Court's going to count the damn ballots. You did it. You said 29, it's very simple. See, most of the people that are Supreme Court justices are products of the school system, except for the 2 new ones. Both of them happen to be appointed by Obama. Where you actually had to learn to read, to write, to do your arithmetic. And they'll say, 21 Republican states sent their ballots out in time. 29 Democratic states waited until it was 2 weeks too late. 21 Republicans did it. 29 Democrats didn't do it. Now, why would it be 29 democratically controlled states that didn't do it? Because they were illegally changing the election. That's a criminal offense, which basically can get the people tossed in a jail cell. That is a federal offense, and basically Obama has to enforce the law. They made Holder enforce it. He didn't want to enforce it. Yeah. So, like I said, early counting. I love the other thing about early voting. You're not supposed to vote. It says election day, not election 2 months.
Yeah. Well, part of it for this election, one of the things that we always say is when an election comes up is pay attention to the issues, pay attention to the candidates that are running, their viewpoints and their history.
Yeah.
Part of it is it's like when Obama was voted in. Well, see, there's some of you that thought he didn't have much of a record. If you paying attention to what his
He had a
record
big
was.
record. He had a long record. He has a record of socialism in his past. He was a union. He worked for the unions. He worked for SEI. He was SEIU's lawyer, and he is a constitutional scholar based upon the fact of unionism and stuff, and socialism.
So part of it is that there's a lot of very intelligent people that voted for Obama that were surprised at how he responded. But part of it is, to me, it surprises me that they didn't go and look further because it wasn't that difficult to find.
The media, the left-wing media, didn't even bother because they were so basically, it could have been, I remember, people don't remember a guy named Stephen Fetchit, who actually was a really smart guy, but he used to play the old Southern slave and could basically slow and massa stuff. If he'd have been on the ballot running against Hillary Clinton, the Democratic-controlled press would have pushed him for the presidency of the United States, and he's been dead for 30 years.
Why would they have voted him?
Because he was black. They didn't care. All they wanted, we want to show the world that we can put a black person in. And then the fact that they didn't know he was a Muslim just made it that much better. Why do you think they're all hung up on the Muslim bit now? Because they don't want to hurt the feelings of the President of the United States, because they invested a lot of getting a black Muslim president in, as the first black Muslim president of the country. And then he turns around, he's basically doing nothing for the black people, and while he sucks up to the Muslims, he does nothing for them in this country. He won't even admit he's a Muslim.
That's true. So by their standards, if you're not going to even admit that you're a Muslim, you might as well be like a...
Can we say the word that the Democrats love to use? Uncle Tom.
Oh, is that what they use?
That's what they're calling Ward Williams at the moment. He's an Uncle Tom because he's over at Fox. Of course, we'll put it this way. If the President of the United States would walk over to Fox News and he said, I came over here because my butt needs to be scratched, Ward Williams would be in a race with Bill O'Reilly to see which one could scratch his rear end first. But Williams is as left wing as they come, folks. Uncle Tom, no. He just, the trick is, what I keep telling people, a lot of people understand Fox is working for Obama. He's been working for Obama since day one, since Rupert Murdoch did not want Hillary Clinton as president.
That's right. And so remember, well, actually you may not remember, but we do remember before the election what was happening to the people that were not supporting Obama.
They were taking vacations.
Extended.
The extended vacations, including Glenn Beck, folks. Obama exists because of Fox News Network. If Fox wasn't there to basically give him something to bounce off of, they would basically, the people in this country are not completely idiot. They know that if the press is all solid for anything, it's wrong. The press doesn't agree on anything in this nation. So if 100% of the press said this is, if the 100% of the press said Jesus walked on the water, nobody would believe that Jesus ever walked on the water. That's how the press is. But
yeah, but this year for elections, you just can't. I mean, there's some people that vote straight party ballot. They'll say, oh, it's a Democrat or Republican or whatever.
It was my great uncle, my great aunt. My great uncle was great grandson of Rutherford B. Hayes, Republican President of the United States in Illinois. My aunt was a great of one of the Democrats. She goes back to John Adams' side of the family, and basically he would go in, he would flip all the Republicans, she would go in, flip all the Democrats, basically wipe the vote out.
Yeah, but see, I think this year more than ever, you need to pay attention, because just because it says they're a Democrat doesn't really mean they're going to act like a Democrat.
No.
Or just because it says they're a Republican, will they act like a Republican?
Okay, Obama.
And now you've got the Tea Party.
Obama would not be president except for the Republican votes that voted for him. And they said, well, those people who didn't vote for him, they basically didn't vote. When you didn't vote, it was a vote for Obama. That's the whole trick. This year, the Democrats are voting for the Republicans by not voting. Because the Democrats have buyer's remorse with Barack Obama.
Well, see, part of it is this is what's up, because, for example, if the Democrats, which control both houses as well as executive branch, all three branches, if they lose, well, let's just say they can't get as much accomplished for their agenda.
Well, that's what they think, but then again, since I've already been told by the Democrats that basically know what's going on. Obama's going to, the Republicans are caving in to Obama right now.
Oh,
because
is that
we don't want to look like we're the party of no, and Obama's going to run by executive order.
So, okay, so Republicans have some balls, especially those.
They're not intending to do it. But
I mean,
we will work with Obama wherever we can. But you're being elected not to work with them. Okay, well, let me try something else. Midterm elections are generally elections about the economy and about your local, whether your local congressman actually did what you want him to do. This year, it's an anti-Obama election.
Oh, does that have anything to do with the people not wanting to show up with Obama?
Because it's an anti-him. I mean, this guy, George Bush, is now officially more popular in this country than Barack Obama. That's the popularity, and and Bush isn't liked by the. You figure the Democrats all hate him, so it means that they said 30% of the independents now favor Bush for a third term over Obama for a first term. They said if they had to do it all over again, they'd rather re-elect George Bush, which is basically damaging Obama. George Bush is responsible. Well, I had a goddamn job when George Bush was president. You fired me when you took over. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the problem. Bush didn't fire people. Obama fired hundreds of thousands of people.
Well, and some of these things are a little tricky. Like, what is it in Rhode Island? That guy that's running, he's not running for the Republican Party, although he's a Republican. He's running as the independent.
Well, it's weird because he missed the Republican ballot. The same thing as the guy in Colorado. The leading candidate in Colorado is a Republican that had to run as an independent because he couldn't get his name on the ballot.
Yeah, and then there's the Tea Party. I mean, where do you think the Tea Party's going to vote?
Tea Party's going to vote. They said 99% of the votes are going to go to the Republicans because the Democrats won't stop spending, and they've already told the Republicans, if you come in and the president bends over and you rush to kiss his rear end, you're out of office the next day. Mm-hmm. They're already preparing to recall their own candidates and place somebody in office. And so it's ridiculous. This is the first, I've never seen a midterm election that was a national election before.
Oh, actually, that's kind of true, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this year more than ever, it's like you really need to pay attention to the candidates.
Yeah.
Themselves and how they're going to vote.
And you can't pay attention to anything they're saying, neither side, because...
Talk about confusing, the Republicans sounding like the Democrat and the Democrats sounding like the Republicans.
The Republicans the Democrats are so conservative now, you cannot only, as they said, a total of only 7 members of the Democratic Party. We're talking not Nancy Pelosi, not Harry Reid. There are 7 members of the House of Representatives who are losing, of course, are running on the accomplishments that they did, that we managed without Republican support and for the betterment of the people, passed these pieces of legislation that they were told not to do by the people of their own districts. Mm-hmm. So, but the 7 of them are running on records. Nobody, including Pelosi and Reid, are running under records. And the Republicans, we have a pledge to America, which they all refuse to sign, mm-hmm. and have no specifics on what they want to do. They said, I heard last night, one of the people said, the reason they're only going to get 9 instead of the 11 they need is because they refuse to actually agree to actually do anything. Because they're going to rubber stamp this president. They intend to. Because, well, if we look like we're the party of no, they will remove us from power again. Well, no. They're putting them in charge because they're the party of no. They said
it's
no.
Like, knock, knock, wake up.
We put it this way. If the Republicans played Calvin Coolidge for 2 years and did nothing, they're going to get, that's what they were elected to do, is to do nothing.
And Obama's interpretation of working with him is, I'll work with you, which means you agree to follow what I'm doing.
That is his deal. He has never, the people thought he was going to, because he was an Afro-American, he was going to bring a bipartisanship this country never seen. He's like I am. He's a bloody mixed breed, and he's basically got one heck of a chip on his shoulder. He doesn't belong, the same as I don't belong. I have blonde hair and hazel eyes, which sometimes is blue, and light German skin. And then I walk around my little Indian mother, or on my father's side, my Indian great-grandfather, and they say, well, what are you doing there? And I said, well, that's my great-grandfather, this is my mother. And they say, how did that happen? That's what they'll say is, how did that happen? You know, then that's Barack Obama. He doesn't fit in anywhere.